Welcome. This is Ayana Lahi, and I am so very, very happy that you are here with all of us today in this week's episode of Be One, Be You. We are diving into the theme Free Yourself from Your Ego. You know, I love sharing and talking and teaching about our separate self coming into union with the source. I spent many years, over 4 decades ago, seeking my connection with the source, deep within myself, within the universe. And I had read in many books about the ego and how negative it is. I understand in myself and seeing how the ego, part of ourself, can really become negative. What I've discovered is that it didn't start out that way. Your ego self came into being to protect you. It is a biological response to external stimuli, energy, whether conscious or unconscious, energy that is sent to you, directed at you. The world we're living in is always in battle with its own opposite. It's what makes this planet what it is. And even having the sun and the moon as opposites, and in yoga, having the sun and the moon principle within our body that we are reuniting. Even thinking of it as the left side of the body is the feminine and the right is the masculine. I believe it gets to a point where you're really integrated and your masculine and feminine are fully grokked in to your mind and the core of your body. So through the infinite source channel, the light within you, the awakened part of yourself, you come into integration. Your ego self as the protector to you, helping you to learn how to walk, learn how to reach for something, explore. And it turns into a controlling force when you're having to be contained in yourself or repressed, shut down inside, because your energies might be conflicting with your parents, your elders, teachers. It might be triggering them. And so that part of yourself that's the protector can get a little fussy in its ways of being because it will push you into the corner or push you to stand up. It will do what you're willing to do. And if the consequences that you know are there are too big, such as being a child and saying what you want to say to a parent, and there being a consequence of a slap or a reprimand, or a parent who's really receptive and open and realizing that you have a voice of wisdom, even as a little person, little sized person, but a big soul. I used to call my kids big souls in little bodies when they were under the age of 5, and their wisdom always moved me, always stopped me, and helped me to awaken to my habitual responses. The ego self puts you into habitual response. It's where sometimes it's awesome to do the same action, the same routine. It's a way to actually keep you connected to the source. It gives you that structure, that discipline where you're showing up and saying yes to what you need to do. On the other hand, it can also be like a trap, around you so that you stop feeling, thinking, perceiving, experiencing what you're actually doing in a moment. So the ego self is a part of you that springs into action to make sure that you're fulfilling the expectations around you. That's a pretty simplified version. But if you figure out that if you can outsmart someone or trick someone and fool someone because you find rules ridiculous, so you make up your own, we see that in the world around us right now in a pretty exaggerated form. If as a child you were judged or made fun of for the way you laughed or the way you danced or the way you sang, or you were received and embraced and really supported, your ego self could develop into creating your own expression, your form of your being into presence, into action in a lot easier way than the child, the teenager, the young adult who feels uneasy about being who they are. You want to recognize how your ego works. What is it trying to uphold? Perhaps you look in the mirror a lot, for instance, and really judge yourself based upon how you look. We all want to look good, and when we stop caring, that's the opposite extreme. That's another form of where the ego self hasn't been able to really survive and thrive. And part of the awakening to our ego, well, there's a lot to it. And I want you to know that it takes seeing, experiencing yourself from your heart to recognize your ego. That's really the fastest way. And the ego can stop us from reaching our goals. It has the voice of, hey, you're not enough. Who you are doesn't look really great. You'll never be accepted. And it's hard to look past yourself and your opinions and your judgments of how everything needs to stack up and be. And yes, we all care about how we look. And it's important to feel really great, not to, base our image on just our looks. And as a woman who is aging, meaning I'm not in my 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s anymore, I recognized how easy it is to just fall into depending upon how we look and how much it's built into us. And to free myself of the ego trappings, I constantly need to really, really, really dwell in the source, the essence in myself. And it keeps growing deeper and wider and bigger in myself. And sometimes when I'm going through an inner letting go, a really big inner letting go, I'm feeling like I'm in a shamanic death. And I've been through thousands of them in this lifetime where there's a remembrance and a letting go of the creation I have made in myself. And we all go through the creation of who we are. We spend a lot of time in our culture creating ourselves to be who we think we need to be in order to make it. And because I am a being who needed to follow the truth that me, was finding since I was a young teen, I have found that that is an incredible gift to have, but one's truth needs to come from being free of one's ego self, because it's too easy to fall into trying to fulfill outer expectations that others have on us and that we create for ourselves, and we lose connection with ourself. To really free ourselves from our ego, yeah, we have to pay attention, and that paying attention is from the heart first, and then from the lower belly, your second power point center, or known as your second chakra, to unify, to connect your heart and your lower belly at the same time. That connection inside of you gives you the foundational strength to grow deeper, wider than the ego self. Your ego self lives in a very self-contained channel. It has the need to fulfill itself, and it avoids contact with you, the true self. And so when we look out into the world and we see people breaking through their own limitations, coming out of their bubble, their isolated headspace, compared to individuals and in the collective who separate themselves, identify where they live, what religion they are associated with, their income bracket, how important they are, so on and so forth. That's the separate self. And so we're seeing this pattern manifesting externally in a pretty big way. Not that it hasn't manifested over the last few thousand years, but right now it is an increase. It is an emergence of this particular pattern in our collective. So you have greater opportunity to break through. The more that you call in your connection with Source and you ask, however you ask from your heart, to be guided and shown and helped to bust through what is not your real self. And you pay attention to how you show up with someone. Is your heart open? Is your heart closed? Are you in your head trying to prove a point? See yourself as the one who knows a lot or can solve any problem? Pay attention to where you go. You want to, at all costs, not go up into your head and split off from your body, from your heart center, your solar plexus, and the lower belly, that second power point center. So, yeah, to start, you bring your focus into your heart center, and you find your heart center through looking for a flicker, a flame of light. And there in that diamond shining light is the gateway into the source within you. This light is both the masculine and feminine divine spark, and it grows in depth and magnitude as you open to receive your true masculine and your true feminine divine energies. These energies are in your soul. So where we're going with this is as you connect into your truth self, your true masculine, true feminine, they are of the light. They come from, they exist in your eternal self, your soul. And yes, they do have an archetype. And yes, I love sharing this too. I love sharing all of this with you because it brings me joy to see you blossom into your freedom, true freedom, for you to have let go of the controlling parts of you, the ego self, and play the music of your heart and work with the structures in this world and shift the structures in this world and create new structures for this world. As a teenager, I used to read all of Anais Nin's books, and she really helped sculpt me into my young adulthood. And she spoke about through chaos comes order. And that really moved me and helped me to explore inner chaos through music, experimental music through jazz and world music as a performing dance artist. And through knowing my source within inside of my being, within inside of my body, and I'm inviting you to find that through stillness or through movement, you find that strength, calm source. I had a friend who created a word, stroft, strong and soft, and he was of the new masculine about 50 years ago. And that's what happens when you integrate in. There's so much strength in the source, and it's how you channel it. And the softness of it comes from the essence of who we each are. We're generally, as human beings, a combination of intensity and strength, focus, directive, consciousness, and clarity. That's our masculine, all embracing masculine, with the fiery, free flowing, watery movement, earth eruption, power, deep fire flame of the feminine, who is pure power coming to open up the masculine love. And this is how it's been for thousands of years. And then the power within the feminine was shut down, and the false power of separation was created that has strengthened the growth of the ego. To free yourself of your ego, you have to make the decision that you want to live in alignment with your true self. And your true self is found through reuniting the parts of yourself that got lost, forgotten, what I call ABR'd, ABR'd, abandoned, betrayed, rejected. And those parts live in the base of your body, and as you find them, they're hidden in the darkness within inside of our body, the area where there isn't any light moving in. When you start pulling the light up from the core of the earth, which is part of the spirit gateways practices that you find in all of the courses, in the Be Light meditation, in the Love to Be the movement, in the spiritual practices of the original way teachings within all the spirit gateways courses that are part of the evolutionary empowerment global village that, yes, you can subscribe to and be just embraced as you come in and receive some free gifts from me, and know that the work that I give is for your breakthroughs, for your growth. And that's what this is all about. And I'm able to share with you the ancient wisdom integrated with the progressive higher plane light awakenings of this time period in all of the spirit gateways work. So to free yourself of your ego is a way of approaching how you play a musical instrument, how you show up, whether you are at your potter's wheel, at the ballet bar, or at your desk and your computer. You find that source of truth within you that comes through your connection into your heart. And you can sit at your desk and breathe into your heart. You can close your eyes for a few moments and sense if there's any uneasiness, if there's a disconnection, there's a pain that's there. You want to bless that. You bless through giving your love. Your love is stronger than the ego self, which lives in separation. And when that ego voice takes you over, whether it's how you see someone sexually, how you treat somebody, how you feel threatened by someone, by the competition you might feel, how you have to avoid showing up in a real way. Those are all the qualities of your separate self, the false self, the ego self. And you want to learn through this, not just cast it as being negative or bad. You want to embrace all of yourself. Hold that part of you in love and give it to Source. You want to give over your attachment to the Source and attach yourself instead to the source of the light within you. And that's the process of busting through the ego. Thank you for being here with all of us, holding you in big love during these times of lots of unknowns and challenges. And know that I'm here with you. And I'd love for you to come check out my website if you haven't, IanaLahi.com, IANALAHI.com. And I invite you to subscribe to the Evolutionary Empowerment Global Village, and you'll be given the ways to begin your journey. And I send my love for a beautiful week. Until next time, this is Ayana Lahi.